eyes dare to see all the greatness I possess, endless possibilities. Look in the mirror, what do I see?
Welcome to another segment of the Seek Elevation Experience. Today, I'm taking a little detour on the original topic that was planned today. It's very few in between when I address certain things. And when I do address certain things that's going on, it usually gets to a point where it affects the very thing that I advocate for, which is us being empowered in our ownership. Ownership on all levels. I always talk about ownership, and I want to talk about ownership today, but I'm not talking about trademarks. I'm not talking about contracts. I'm not talking about business entities, all of those things per se. What I'm talking about is our mind. Our mind that affects all of those other things. Because as owners of our space, when someone hijacks our emotions, when someone hijacks your emotions, they hijack your decisions. They hijack our decisions. We are all affected when emotions are hijacked. There's but so long any of us can go by with ignoring everything that continues to go on, because we are all affected directly or indirectly. It's but so long we can push past and just keep operating like things are not continuing to escalate. If our emotions, our decisions are hijacked, we don't need to be protected from someone stealing our business. We can just be steered away from it, steered into ruining it. Just look at business platforms. LinkedIn is one. I'm just so shocked at times, and I don't know why I continue to be shocked. Maybe because hope prevails a lot over all the things that presents itself as not having hope. So the shock factor continues. I don't want to allow myself to be desensitized to anything. So looking at things like LinkedIn, where I'm looking at amazing founders, sports professionals, creatives, individuals that hold high-ranking positions at companies, doctors, attorneys, all types of professionals saying things and being incited through hateful rhetoric is so concerning. So it's important to address how we are affected with ownership. I won't go deep into certain areas because I have a whole nother podcast segment that touches on that. But today I do want to talk about something that's relevant right now. Two things that really came up right now that's relevant, that directly affects community. And what I talk about today is not about celebrity gossip. There's individuals that's talked about what I'm going to speak about, but it was in a way of celebrity gossip. I want us to see past that. I want us to see how narratives move through culture and communities and collaborations, and how people get emotionally conscripted, emotionally manipulated into someone else's agenda. How can we focus on elevating what we have going on, what we are going to do? When I say we, I'm talking about founders, creatives, sports professionals, high ranking employers, employees making a difference. How can we focus on whatever our agenda is to elevate our best selves if we get caught up in somebody else's agenda? That's what I want to talk about today. So, welcome to Seek Elevation. If this is your first time tuning in, I am Elakeisha O'Kelly, attorney Elakeisha O'Kelly, also known as the empowerment influencer and the ownership attorney. Yes, I am an attorney, but if I don't know your situation, I'm not giving you legal advice in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm giving you legal education for you to take and become better with. I advocate for creative sport professionals and founders, especially for first-gen achievers, because I am one. This is a space for us to come here, congregate, and to elevate, to transform, and to get clarity on the topics in which are presented. My aim is to empower individuals who are focused on rising, redefining themselves, and daring to step into their highest potential. The people who want to become the better versions of themselves in every step of their journey. So if you are that person that's building, creating, leading, or evolving, you are in the right place. And as I just stated, what's going on around us affects those very things I'm talking about. Us elevating, us redefining ourselves, us becoming the best versions of ourselves, us creating, us leading, us building. How can we have a conversation about any of those things if there's so much around us that speaks to tearing things down, to being stagnant, to being stifled? I want to bring up the recent conversation with an artist named Nicki Minaj. The information that Nicki shared is not what's shocking to me. As someone who understands entertainment, understands Hollywood, a system that was built on corruption, any system that is built on corruption, when it corrupts, it's doing the very thing it's built to do. Hollywood is one. So I'm not shocked about the information that's shared. My concern is the information that's disseminated, how we, the people, are responding to that information. Just watching, and when I say people, I'm meaning everyone. Because we, the people, is where the power lies, but we are so manipulated and controlled by all of these things that keep coming out and distracting a lot of us from doing the things that we need to do personally in our lives, professionally in our lives, and just as contributors to our existence as a whole. Nicki shared some information, and immediately my question was, as it was when the Sean Diddy documentary dropped, when the Epstein information came out, and when all of the Me Too and everything else came out, the same stuff. Yes, information comes out. But how long after knowing whatever information is shared by whoever, how long after knowing the information is the information coming out? If this information, whatever information that is alarming, where there are victims and the person, people, or entity share that information, if they knew it all along, it makes them complicit. In the legal world, when we look at any type of crime that was committed, and there are people who are directly or indirectly involved, they are a part of it. We have terms called accomplice, aiding and abetting, conspiracy. You can have someone who didn't actually commit a crime, but then someone comes to them for shelter or to be hidden from that crime, and you don't share with anybody else. You now inserted yourself in that crime. Legally, those words I mentioned have elements to them. And when I listen to a lot of things that are said and done, those elements are met. You knew information that you're now sharing for the reasons you decide to share them now. I'm not accusing anyone of any crime with me sharing this. What I am saying, the point I am making, is about accountability and timing that we are all ignoring. And we are all being used in these tactics instead of keeping on our thinking caps. Again, if we're going to elevate in our space in whatever we do, we have to elevate in every area. If someone claims they knew of something harmful and they just come out and share it with us, but they held that information until they were personally angry, until they wanted something, that's not activism at all. That's leverage that they're using. Leverage at our own expense. And we acquiesce, we agree, we roll right with it. Those are terms that I said we use in the legal world. The conspiracy, aiding and abetting. But there's also certain things that are done, certain crimes, be it civil or not. We look at intent. There's some things where intent doesn't matter. It's just if you did it, you're guilty. If you met the elements of these particular things, it doesn't matter if you've intentionally meant to do it or didn't mean to do it, you are just guilty. Then there's some things we have to prove intent. So either way, intent is very important to us in the legal world, because we have to know how to measure, when to measure, and how does intent come into play. So when I look at things that's done, I look at what is done, and does intent even matter, or does it matter that it was just done? We have to pay attention to what's being done, and most of the time I say intent is crucial. And telling people information because one is angry does not mean the information that's being shared is because that person cares about the people. You care about yourself. So whatever this information, whatever we are hearing now, one after another, from whatever it is, it's because you care about yourself and what that does to benefit you, not the people. We need to look at people's intention when they share stuff and not us just be emotionally controlled by a sharing, because sometimes that timing of sharing something is to cause a division and to control minds and to control hearts. When someone reveals very important information, very crucial information, only when they are losing power, losing money, losing control, losing status, we need to together ask, why now? Thank you for the information. I'm not saying dismiss it. We need to be informed. And I am happy that there's a lot of things being exposed on all levels in so many different areas. I love exposure. But when exposure comes because of those things, the one exposing is not off the hook either. And imagine how many more people are complicit to those things until they feel is worthy to be used. But they watch and they know and they have privilege to knowledge of victims in so many things, but they don't care until they feel they are a victim. Intent does not change whether something is true or not, but it should change whether we trust the messenger, the circle, and whether we allow them to recruit our emotions, to side with them, to make them now a victim. And we're looking at other people as villains. No, we're going to assess the situation, the information that come out. All of you are incriminated or a part of the situation. Thank you for sharing, but we're wise enough to assess the situation and pay attention to an intent and your reasons. So what am I talking about? Just in case you are under a rock, or if you are watching this many years later and you have to go back. Because I don't care when you're watching it, the one thing that has proven itself true is that history keeps repeating itself, even if it's in different forms. Because we, the people, have yet to continue to unify instead of letting all of these systems divide us. Politics, religion, all type. We go down the list. So I'm gonna share. So there was, I don't know how to get it out. So there was this allegation made by Nicki. There's plenty of posts, right? And so one of her posts that she made, and there was a Grammy award event ceremony, whatever you want to call it, that went on, the Grammy Awards. I'm not really all into that stuff. I'm not even into these celebrated individuals. And to be honest with you, within my legal practice, I represent creatives, but I stopped representing artists when it comes to artist deals and being in that world. I represent artists when it comes to them operating and building their business entity structure legally, when it comes to them protecting their IP and creating legacy through that, holding companies. But when it comes to direct deals with music and stuff, I stepped away from that. But it don't matter what your algorithm is, it's pushed on your feed or some way for you to see it. These things are not happenstance. But she shared that your favorite artists are out here doing satanic rituals. They're taking innocent children from other countries, shedding their blood because to serve Satan means to always shed blood. You have to constantly shed blood. So, alleging these innocent children are being slaughtered for rituals. And if that is true, and you're speaking of it now, if you tell me something is so evil, it endangers children, if you tell us, we the people, that something is so evil it endangers children, and you're telling it now just when you're angry because it part of the post, and you have to go follow and find the whole post. I didn't want to share all that. It's a whole thread. You can keep going. It's a back and forth stuff. But it was prefaced with, I said, stop bullying me, stop poking at me. I gave you warnings. You guys won't stop. And because you won't stop, I told you, and I'm gonna share this. So what if they would have stopped? What if the bullying, whatever was deemed bullying, stopped? Would this have been shared? Innocent children, babies from other countries being slaughtered. If the bullying had stopped, people, we have to pause and just think. Would it have stopped? Would it have been shared if it stopped? It was also stated that there are brainwashing tactics that are being used. But if you keep pushing me, I'm gonna share those too. If you keep there's brainwashing tactics that we clearly see it. We know it, right? And even and be honest with you, when it comes to the rituals, I'm not saying what these people are doing or not doing that she's calling out, but we know there's rituals. Celebrities or not, there's rituals. When it comes to religions, there's extremism on both sides of the spectrum. Whether you're talking about satanic, people that claim to believe in Jesus, people claim to believe in Allah, people claim to believe in whatever. There are extremists on all ends of the spectrum. So we know there are sacrifices, rituals, cults. We know there's all these things. You're privy to know this stuff. You're in it. And you only share it when you're angry is problematic. We have to see that as problematic. And this is not just about Nicki. This is just a thing to call out right now that is a reflection of how everything is going on. If you claim you know brainwashing tactics, but you are not sharing what those brainwashing tactics are yet, you only raise them as a threat. That's not protection for us, the people. That's a bargaining chip for you, for the person that's saying that's a bargaining chip. So we can be fans of people. We can identify with parties and politics. We can identify as certain believers. We can do all that. But no matter what you identify with, fans of, right is right, wrong is wrong, control is control of our emotions. And we have to denounce parties and practices when it comes to affecting the people. That's the one unifier, the people. And I definitely want to cover something too, because this is for us to really understand as owners. Is that when someone says allegedly, I hear this a lot. Listen to me, my elevators. those who are seeking to elevate and go beyond social norms. Just saying allegedly before you say something. I don't know where it started. I even honestly heard one person who was advised by attorney say, my attorney said, and I don't know if an attorney really advised the person. This person just said, my attorney said, say allegedly. I'm here to tell you, as an attorney, not giving you legal advice, giving you education, when we're talking about defamation risk, allegedly is not a magic shield. It's not. The use of allegedly may not protect a speaker if the statement is still understood as a factual assertion rather than just my opinion or something that's rhetoric. I am saying what I'm saying as if it is a factual assertion. And if it can be assessed to fall under that, just saying the word allegedly does not shield anything. For defamation, there are elements that have to be met. I know here in Georgia, where I'm located, there's elements that has to be met. The statement has to be defamatory, like it's defaming someone's name. It depends on if you're a celebrity or if you're a private person, but there has to be malice. It could reach just to the level of negligence. It has to be communicated to another person. And that other person is not like a privileged person, but to just overheard or disseminated by any other third party that's not a privileged person, a privileged meaning protected type person to say something to. There's times that my clients may say something to me as an attorney. I'm a privileged person for you to tell me what you need to tell me. Attorney-client privilege. If we're talking about in politics and other things, so there's different type of individuals that have, when a statement is said, it's a privileged statement. But when those things are met, there's false statements, defamatory statements that you're pushing as factual, you don't know they're true. And saying allegedly is not a magic shield for you to say whatever you want. I just wanted to stop and make sure I share that. But I had to share that because people think the word allegedly gives them unfettered discretion to say whatever. It's not. And if any attorney ever tell you that, and that's just what I just shared with you was Georgia, but that's also New York, that's California. It's pretty much universal. Just look up the laws in your state. Why don't you fact check? Fact check if allegedly protects you from defamatory statements that you are asserting as fact. If a reasonable person can hears what you're saying, and they're taking it as fact versus your opinion, it can function as a factual claim that allegedly will not protect. If you're gonna light a match in public, you better know what counts as gasoline. But I want to use that. I wanted to kind of pivot a little bit just to use that as a teaching moment for us elevators who are doing better and knowing better and doing better. But I want to just point to this before I kind of move on. In sharing that information about these individuals who are doing things that are claimed to be horrific, you said babies. And then you share, I won't be releasing another album until my contract is negotiated. Renegotiate it with who? Renegotiate it? Renegotiate it means if I negotiated my contract with somebody, I'm going to renegotiate this contract with them. Now, someone saying I'm not going to release anything until my contract expires and then I enter into a new contract, that to me infers a new person. See, as one of the things that's important are words. We miss words because I'm trained on words. I get caught up more in what's being said than the emotion that's supposed to be trapped into it. If you're telling individuals after all the stuff that's being shared, I'm going to release new music after my contract is renegotiated, why is there even any connection with anyone within proximity of the individuals that are doing horrific things? If you're about good light, we have to stop letting people play us. We have to stop letting people play us against each other. Black, white, brown, whatever, men, women. And we have to stop letting people play us against ourselves. All these things connected. And all I see people is, she exposed, she exposed, she exposed. But yeah, she exposed possibly a people, but also exposing the truth of self as well. And this lines up with everything that is going on. But because we sign up for supporting a thing and a person so hard, we become blind to how that thing we are supporting doesn't support us. It really doesn't. It doesn't support our success as individuals or collectively as a community. We're being played in a game that we didn't ask to be a part of, but that we continue to agree to be a part of. Permission is needed. And we give permission through our actions. The same way those tactics are used to get us all incited, there's tactics of fear mongering as well. So it's this confusion. It's this, oh, we gotta cause hate against one side of group or this side. The fear mongering is real as well. Speaking of Nicki's post about exposing and all the stuff that we keep seeing about Epstein, and I can say that it did my heart well, where I've seen a lot of people saying, I don't care, release the files, whoever's on Epstein file, I don't care who you are, I'm not rolling with it. I that did my heart well. But it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper to now, why is it even being released? Who had it the whole time? There's more people intertwined in this corruptness than we want to allow ourselves to believe. Fear mongering is real. It is one of the best tools for division. Someone had posted on Twitter about needing to stick together as males, as white males. So that means this post didn't include white females. And of course, anybody that's non-white is just white males. We need to stick together because if minorities take over, which includes everyone but the white males, right? Women of all races, and then males of all races, we will be slaughtered. People will begin to be, white males will begin to be slaughtered. Someone posted, if white men become the minority, we will be slaughtered. Fear mongering. However, this thought is not new. It's posted, it's shared now, here, recently, but this has been a conversation for eons, if you just do your research. And a lot of division amongst races, amongst gender, stems from this. It's just someone who spoke out loud. Someone who spoke out loud about it because everything is heightened. It's heightened. So since it's heightened to its feel like it's about to burst, people are now saying things that they would just hold in their mind and act on, but not necessarily speak too much on. Matter of fact, they would gaslight people if they spoke on it. But now it is about to burst. I need to say something. And this is how a lot of white males feel because they were fed this type of fear to make sure the division is kept amongst women in general, when we talk about the patriarchy, and in amongst all races, when we talk about just even leading and holding positions, why it's important to make sure it looks and stay a certain way, because if it doesn't, you're going to be slaughtered. This fear has continually worked because it sells a collapsed thinking. I need to save self. But can we look at what's going on? Can we look at what's going on? There is slaughter that is happening amongst all races. White males, Hispanic, Black. Slaughter's happening. We, the people, need to wake up. Don't hold on to something that creates a fear in you from happening when the very thing will happen regardless. It's happening. It's not about if minorities, if white men become the minority. It's if we, the people, don't become a majority together, slaughter will happen. This affects us and what we're doing in our everyday life, in our business. Think of the mindset. How many collaborators and partners and clients, or I become a client of, could be a lot of white males. This division is not allowing us to own our space. When people are in fear, they don't investigate facts, they don't investigate what's going on. They dismiss, they make every excuse of why things are the way they are and why they happen, whether they're horrific or not. I will have to find an explanation for this to happen because I have to join a team. And what do we do when we join teams in business? What do we do when we join teams in sports? We work together for this common cause. Once you're on a team, you'll start to defend things that you would never tolerate if you were not on that team. So we have to look at all this that is happening around us, from celebrities sharing information. I hate to even use celebrities, these regular people that are celebrated people sharing information that they know that's not just affecting Hollywood, it's affecting our entire existence. Let's hear about this brainwashing tactic that's affecting everyone. That's people's children, you, this brainwashing tactics that you know of, but share them. Let's get out the fear. Let's get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations because you are in fear. It's not just about one race fearing their life. All races are fearing their life on some level because of something. Some are fearing because they're literally seeing that they may be killed in plain sight. Some are fearing because they're thinking, I will be eradicated, if this happened, everyone's walking around with fear. It's not because I specifically hate a race. People hate the ideal of their own destruction. And that narrative have been tied that your destruction is tied to this. We have to see past that. And I'm not gonna go too deep in this part. Again, another podcast I talked about, but it all ties together. It's the same thing with the political parties, right? That's not just the same thing. It's all tied together. It's all tied together. As a matter of fact, the reason why those comments was just released by her was because it stemmed from showing up, advocating for, being on the side of a political party. You watch the Grammys, you're hearing the political stuff because you have people getting their lives taken away because of something that was put in place politically. So there's all these wars that are started. Wars against political parties that we are pulled in as the people. Their war is because they want to claim control. Not one side of anything is great. Whatever you're looking at, whatever entity we're talking about, not one side is better than the other. The fight is which one of us can claim control. And using we the people as the soldiers to do the fight when we are supposed to be building up what we're building up around us instead of allowing it to be ruined. We are affected as founders because of a lot of these decisions that we support and go for because of a party. We're affected as business owners, especially small to mid-sized business owners. So we can't separate any of this any longer. We have to come together so our businesses can thrive. So our platforms and creativities and what we're doing can thrive. We're supposed to have, when you grew up, you always heard, oh, separate, religions and state, everything separate, government. No, it's not. It's all together. Let's talk about it. We've heard so much religion be thrown out to justify judgment, murder. Religion used to divide too. It's not new. Everything is all escalating at once, though. We got religion and politics and entertainment world, Hollywood, all things used together to have us all going crazy. People calling out the name of beliefs and what they believe in to do and act horrifically. Whether you are crushing a building because of your belief or crushing hopeful souls, you are a terrorist. I don't care what name you come in, what name you are putting before you. You are a terrorist. And you are twisting the power of love to justify your power of greed under a name. You can call out the name, but it will not recognize you, whatever your belief is. If you're twisting that to stand on destruction, you're a terrorist. So my owners, my elevators, just like we don't want people controlling our IP, our contract terms, our business coming in as partnership and stealing our business from us, we shouldn't be controlled in our minds and our emotions. We should not have anyone controlling that either, because if you control those things, you control all the other things that we're working hard not to have controlled, even if you don't realize it. The majority of us are stronger together to dismantle systems. We have to stop saying, let's change the system. The system is doing exactly what it's built to do. All systems that have been built are doing exactly what it's built to do. We're not here to try to change a system and keep that in place. We are dismantling it. And how do we do that? By rejecting the systems that are in place, and we can rebuild it through our voice, through our actions, through all of us coming together. When will we get it? Division is an old trick that continues to be used over and over and over again. If the wheel's not broke, why fix it? And I know when I say when will we get it, I know it's not. I'm not one of those illusionists where we think, or delusionists where we think everyone. I'm not speaking to everyone to change. I'm not speaking. This won't even be for everyone. But I am speaking to those, because I do know there's those who have dark hearts and hardened hearts. Hence, that's why a lot of systems were built on that. A lot of systems were built for destruction because they were built with people that have hardened and dark hearts. So I know that there's those people that both exist. But it doesn't have to be all of us. It doesn't have to be every human being. But I know the majority of us who are getting caught up in the tactics and who are being emotionally controlled and really believing what we're doing is right are those of us who truly have good hearts and are a source of good and believe that we are doing our best. It just takes for those of us who are willing to continue to advocate for our unity in mind, which would then affect everything else around us. Please, please, we have to stop whatever we see going on and process what is actually being said right now. When is it being said? And why is it being said? Remove yourself from the who. Please remove yourself from the who. That's what we got to do. Ownership mindset. Remove ourselves from the who that may have an emotional attachment. And let's logically sit and say, what's being said right now? When is it being said? And why is it being said? And let us have enough courage and discernment to assess it exactly like how we're supposed to assess it. And come together. We say we want ownership. We say we want ownership, but we outsource our minds to narratives that are designed to keep us divided. I want to do I challenge you on something. Those that's viewing and listening, I challenge you on something. I'm someone who is a research nerd. I love researching and digging. Whether you are or not, I want you to take the time and just start looking at a lot of things from a historical lens. Right? I want you to just research some of the most notable icons or notable figures that have tried to unify us across the board, our races, our genders. If you do your research beyond the narrative that you're given, you will find that most notable icons were killed, were murdered, were assassinated, were knocked off from this earthly existence, not for their race, not for their gender, not for their religion. They were knocked off because they were bringing people together. The enemy knows that the most important thing is division, because division is its home. And while we allow stories to be told and we have the same things used, race, religion, to keep us divided, it's not those things that even really truly exist that are a problem. It's the fact of unity and power. Running amazing company that we will run on our own. Coming together, one big team. That division is what's important. So when you study history, just pick and just really dig. The people who have scared the system that was built for division and to keep certain people in power, you will find that they're the ones who united across, no matter where they were standing, on what side of the fence they were standing, especially if it was political. They found that this will unite us. They were knocked off or united. Division isn't a side effect. It's the strategy. The strategy. I remember when I was doing research and I ran across the Black Panthers, and I was going deeper and deeper and deeper because the narrative I was given was just a very hostile group, carrying around guns. They seemed very, just a threatening group, rowdy. And then as I did my own research and dug and dug and dug, not only did I find all of their principles that they laid out, their 10 principles of what they're going to do for the community, but they went beyond the Black community and was pulling in other communities. And they started building so much with other communities, whites, Hispanic. They were coming together, and they were young, in their 20s. They're painted as older men, aggressive. These were young men coming together and pulling people together. And then they started to be infiltrated and pulled apart from the inside, so we can divide from the inside, because you are literally galvanizing a rainbow of people. So we got to break you up from the inside. And then once we break you up from the inside, we will murder and assassinate you. Think about the presidents that did that. Decide, I'm going to make these decisions to help or expose. You're unifying. So here's my ownership question to you as I close. Here's my ownership question to you, because we need to get it. If you're building anything, you're building something. Even if that means you're building your life. Are we going to be honest with ourselves and say, I'm not just going to be sold out to something because I stand on this identity tag, this social construct? I am deciding today to stand on the one thing that is true, being a human being. And we can have our differences in thoughts and ideals and practice, but when those thoughts, ideals, and practices affects our existence as a human being, that's the one commonality we have, no matter what the differences in thoughts. When it affects our existence together, when it is controlling my emotion in my mind, and it's affecting everything outside of this, I refuse to compartmentalize and say this is just politics, this is just religion, this is just celebrities. All this is affecting the existence as a whole for us to build legacies. Let's take it personal. You're affecting my legacy. And wake up to empty promises and look at the results. Don't go by, just look. It's in front of us. I had to speak on it, because it's even hard for me to come on and continue to empower and share and use my platforms, my website, social media, to continue to pour into people when you keep running into the people can't even process some of the stuff that you're sharing because they're so consumed in a war that's not theirs. Or there's missed opportunities, missed relationships over a fight that is not ours. I want you to ask yourself, if someone waited, and I want you to be honest with yourself, remove a certain type of person out your head. If someone waited to tell you the truth until they were absolutely angry, would you question their motives? You don't have to question if what they're telling you is true. But if there was something that they told you that you needed to know, you should have known, something that may be life-threatening, something that may have affected your company in a negative way, something that maybe was affecting what you're doing, your company or whatever, in a negative way, and you never knew why. Then all of a sudden they came to you and told you why, because they're angry. Yes, you'll be appreciative of now knowing, but would you question their motives? Ask yourself and ask yourself this truthfully in the mirror. As an elevator, are you informed? Are you inflamed? With all this information going on, are you taking it to be informed or are you being inflamed? And if you say both exist, I'm informed and inflamed, which one is prevailing? Which one is dominating? Because the monster you feed is the monster that will exceed. Because if you're informed, but you're more inflamed, inflame is what's going to land. If you are informed and you're just touched by it, it makes you a little, the informed is going to lead and you're going to do something with it together. And then lastly, I want you to ask, are you protecting your voice, your everything that you own, not just your business? Or are you letting a narrative rent space in your mind for free? You'll know it. Just look at your most recent conversations. Just if we're gonna be honest with ourselves, just look at how we've been conversing. Look at how you've been reacting instead of responding. I want you to just step back have an out of body experience and step back and really assess yourself. Be honest with yourself and put your emotion down and assess yourself and see if you have just subscribed to a war of division on behalf of someone else from whatever angle. You can be a fanatic, you could be a Democrat, Republican, independent, you could be a Christian, a Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Jew. I don't care about all that. But in all of that, do you find yourself right back here to that one thing that matters? You are a human being on this earthly existence that we're trying to build up together and build our personal legacies and just experiences of legacies collectively. I had to get that out. I will return to normal segment next podcast. So thank you for hanging in there with me today on, seeking elevation in all areas that's connected to us and for us to elevate. Remember, the more you know, the more you grow. The more you learn, the more you can earn, because this does affect our pockets as we see. But when you share, you show care. And if you are in it, if you are truly in this for us to continue to find our way to each other and dismantle all of these systems, no matter who we like, love, identify with, if they're not aligning to that one thing, let's dismantle it. Let us not justify bad actions when we know we wouldn't use that same justification if it was on our end. Let us be honest with ourselves. Let us not show up in the name of religions and twist it to fit whatever our agenda is. Let us not be terrorists or extremists under something that was meant to unify us. Spread the wisdom, tag a friend, and let's keep elevating together. Until next time, keep striving, keep growing, and most importantly, keep seeking elevation.